What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Appreciate you guys as always. Today we're talking about another kind of a tackle trend that I noticed when I was over in Japan. So not too long ago, I was in Japan, was fortunate enough to explore a few tackle shops for a couple days. And I noticed a couple tackle trends. So I'm curious, would you guys throw baits like this, like we're gonna talk about? So this is kind of a question. I wanna make sure that you guys drop it in the comments down below, but we're gonna kind of go through one of the trends that I saw in Japan and all the tackle shops and see if it applies here and see if you guys would use it. Okay, so the tackle shops in Japan were incredible. So let's just get that off the top. They were insane. They had baits from floor to ceiling, stacked, all sorts of shapes, sizes, everything. But a couple of the trends I noticed there was a lot of the fuzzy style baits. You know, the stuff with the skirt strands through it, like the fuzzy dice or whatever type of bait, but a lot of different variations of that. So that was one of the trends that I saw there. Another one was very small baits. So I think that's been a thing for a little while, but there's a lot of little tiny small baits over in Japan that, you know, whether it be a little minnow, a little crawfish, lots of little real small, you know, 1 to 2 inch size plastics. There was a lot of that. But then on the opposite end of the spectrum, that's kind of what we're going to talk about here today, was there was some extremely large plastics, especially worms like this. And it got me thinking, you know, one, what does a bass actually think a big worm like that is? But two, when is the application that we really need to be throwing these? So this one is the 10-inch Yamamoto Oki worm. And to be honest, some of these similar style worms that I saw in Japan were almost twice as long as this. I seen one that was literally 18 inches long. But it was quite a bit thinner than this Oki worm. So it was a very skinny, almost like a charging cord style size, very skinny, but it was 18 inches long. And I assume you were to wacky rig or Nico rig, that type of bait. And instantly I started thinking about, I knew I had these hanging on the wall, these big Oki worms. I was like, I wonder if I could do the same thing with this, but I'm just not sure when the right application is to throw these. You know, I've thrown this worm on a Magnum shaky head before, you know, a big Magnum shaky head, but that's really just for the summertime fishing. You know, when the fish are out on the ledges, I want to show them a big profile worm, kind of drag that around. That's sort of the time frame when I use this, but obviously these Japanese anglers are using these extremely long, thin style worms and catching fish more so than just the summer months. So I was trying to think about when the best time to use a big style, thin-bodied, straight-tail worm would be, and I came up with a few ideas, so I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this. So the first thing I thought about was basically after a big heavy rain, because I mean, if you think about it, probably one of the first baits that any of us used to catch a fish as a child was a night crawler or some sort of worm that came out of the ground. You throw in, you catch a bluegill, a bass, whatever. So after a big rain, surely there's some of those worms that are getting washed into the lake. And, you know, obviously the bass are going to eat those type of things. So these big, long, skinny worms, they could look like a night crawler that kind of got washed into the lake. So you could kind of throw it on that. But, you know, another option would be something totally different for these suspended fish. You know, I think if you were to wacky worm or Nico rig one of these big, long, thin worms, that it would have a ton of action. You know, it wouldn't ever be like sprawled out the entire length. You know, if you bend it in half, then it's only going to be a 9-inch worm, but it's, doubled. So you can kind of wiggle him and he's going to have all sorts of crazy action. So I think it would be just something a little bit different and almost look like one of those fuzzy style baits or just something that they've never seen before. And it just maybe give them another option or trigger one to bite one of those things. But that was just something that I noticed while I was over there. I did pick a couple up and maybe we'll try them here sometime this summer and see if I can find the right application for them. But I'm curious your guys' thoughts, so make sure you drop it in the comments below. Would you throw this? Would you throw something like a big 10, 12, 15, 18-inch straight tail worm like this? How would you rig it? Nico style, shaky head, Texas rig? I don't know. The options are endless on this. Maybe even a drop shot. You could probably even, maybe wacky rig him on a drop shot. Just show a big profile down there. I don't know. The options are really endless, and I'm curious. So I need your guys' help. Help me to understand how to do this. Give me some more ways to rig it, and I will get out on the water at some point this year to mess around and see if we can't catch a few on these style worms. But that was just one of the little tackle trends I noticed over in Japan, was the really big style worms. And I'm curious, would you guys throw them? So make sure you drop it in the comments down below. Appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, leave all those likes, comments, good stuff down below, and we'll see you guys next time.